My guest this week is without doubt one of Wales's most prolific rugby players, billed as the greatest of all time. But find out how circumstances very nearly led him to a life off the pitch.
It was Bill Samuel who got me an interview and a place at Millfield School, when at the same time I could easily have possibly gone off on a professional football career.
Hello and welcome back to These Three Things, the podcast that asks which person, place and treasured possession have made a profound impact upon your life and why. My guest today is undoubtedly one of the greatest sporting heroes the world of rugby has ever known. Sir Gareth Edwards was born in 1947 in a village called Gwaun Cargerwyn in South Wales. His father, Glan, was a miner, and as a young boy, Gareth used to run up and down the coal tips to keep fit. He played his first match wearing a Welsh shirt at the tender age of 19, and a year later, he was captain for his country. He played 53 consecutive matches for Wales, and he went on 3 tours with the British and Irish Lions. Since his retirement from the game, he has spent a lot of time on our televisions, with his first appearance in 1976 on This Is Your Life, and multiple years spent on A Question of Sport. He regularly commentates for the BBC and S4C, both in English and Welsh, and more recently has featured on his own show, Great Welsh Adventures, alongside his wife of 53 years, Maureen. Together, they share 2 sons and 4 grandchildren and commit their time to a Welsh cancer charity they set up, supporting young patients with the additional costs around cancer treatment. It is an absolute privilege and pleasure to have Gareth on today. Hello, thank you for being here. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you, Debbie, and it's a pleasure for me to be here. I was rather surprised when Reese told me that you were going to be interviewing me. I thought, no, she's not old enough.
Oh, flattery really will get you absolutely everywhere. When you were thinking about your list, your person, your place and your treasured possession, was it an easy list to formulate?
Yes, because I didn't think too much about it. That's not to say that I was dismissive of it, because it's a pretty difficult thing. Because the more you think about it, you think, oh, have I thought of the right person? Have I thought of the right thing, etc., etc., etc. It just goes to show you that even though it's simple to think about 3 things, when you're doing something as important as this with you, Dev, I'm trying to think, have I changed my mind about 3 or 4 times?
I'd love to hear about your person. Let's start with your person, if we may, Gareth. Who did you choose and why?
Well, it's easy to sort of say family and all that will be part of it. And of course, we are influenced greatly with people in the family. But I suppose if I look back and there is one person that stands out above all others who helped me, was my physical education master in Pontedown. Well, he lived in the same village as I did, but he was a teacher in Pontedown Technical School. And he, without question, contributed immensely to my career. Bill Samuel, great influence for me, was a fantastic teacher, and as I said, lived in the village. So he took me under his wing, and I didn't really appreciate when I first sort of met him that he would be such a huge influence in my life. I was running into the gym, and he said, have you heard of Millfield School? He said. I said, yes, because Mary Bignell Rand, who was a great Olympic pentathlete and fantastic athlete of that period in the 60s, had a lot of attention in the papers that she had a scholarship to Millfield School. Bill had read about it and picked up the story. Said to me, so I sort of knew a bit about it, but I didn't really know too much about it. But I pretended that was the case. And unbeknown to me, Bill was
Really?
had already written to the headmaster.
Wow.
Saying, I believe that that there are offers of scholarships within your system. And he said, and I've got a boy here whom I believe fills that category, so to speak. So I didn't think for 1 minute. I didn't think no more about it. At the same time, I used to love all the sports. I used to do athletics more or less under my own ability. Go to competitions on my own. Nothing was sort of set up for us in those days from the village. I played rugby in the morning on a Saturday morning for the school, and in the afternoon I played football for the local village side. Because of that, Swansea Town, as they were then, asked me to come and have a trial with them, and then I started playing for the youth side. And the manager said to me one day, I want you to come and play with my professional players next season. He said, so I will write to you. I'm laughing, looking back at the whole scenario. It was during the school holidays. Nothing had come from Millfield. Nothing had come from Swansea Town, as they were. And one day, I was thinking about going to the cinema on the weekend. But on the Friday, before the Saturday, on the Friday, Bill came over. He told me that he'd written to Millfield. He told me all these things that that I was aspiring to. And he said, oh, it's a great news. Millfield have been in touch. They want you to go down and have an interview. Oh, I was a bit sort of not disappointed, far from it. I'd waited for so long for either the letter from Swansea to come to me, and whether or not I would be going away to this public school in Somerset, when nothing was happening. And then all of a sudden Bill came over and said, I've heard from Bill. The following day, would you believe it, I saw this envelope behind the clock on my mother's mantelpiece. And I thought, that's fine, I'll have a look at that. So I picked it up. Swansea Town Football Club. I opened it up. It was a letter from Mum. I said, how long has this letter been here? It was a letter from Trevor Morris, the manager, inviting me to join the professionals. And she said, oh, I don't know what you're talking about. However, I've mentioned that story because it was such a huge influence on my career, really. And had it not been for my mother, who I suppose, which was typical of most mothers, wanted their sons or their children to be in education for as long as they could. People often ask me if I would have enjoyed playing football. I enjoyed playing all kinds of sport. So, but anyway, it was important that it was Bill Samuel who got me an interview and a place at Millfield School, when at the same time I could easily have possibly gone off on a professional football career. But what you don't know, you do miss.
Exactly. And it's all those moments of fate, isn't it? That had you not gone for that interview, had your mum hidden the letter a little bit longer, who knows? But so tell me, when you went for your interview at Millfield, did they get you to pick up a rugby ball and run about and put you through your paces?
No, it wasn't. Indeed, the interview was pretty straightforward. My eyes said it all. I could see all the facilities there, the tennis courts, the cricket pitch, the hockey pitches, everything that you could think of. And my eyes were just completely wide open. And I remember Jack Meyer, that was the then headmaster and founder of Millfield School. He said to me, it was a beautiful, fabulous day. And he said, well, Gareth, what you've got to realize, he said, not every day at Millfield is a summer's day like this. Meaning, really, you've got to work hard as well. But it was the most incredible experience. And I remember walking across not that I was a cricketer or interested in cricket, but I just walked across these wonderful facilities, the little golf course that was surrounded the Millfield House in those days. I never thought for one moment that I would still end up there.
Yeah.
I'd just gone down for the experience of the interview. So that was that. So when you talk about a man who influenced me, now, just prior to going to Millfield, it was Bill who decided. He asked me one day, he said, the under-15s for the local side, there's a competition in Welsh schools called the Doer Shield. It's for under-16 teams now, but it was under-15s in those days. And I remember him saying to me, I'm thinking of putting you down for an involvement with the trials that are taking place in a couple of weeks' time. Which position do you want to play? He said to me. Oh, and in those days, I think we all had great ideas of being a centre three-quarters in the game. And that's what I said. First thing I could blurt out to Bill was, I want to be a centre, sir. Go on. He said, you don't want to be a centre. That's a position for people with Brill cream on their hair. You can't remember. You're too young to remember Brill cream. And hands in their pockets, he said.
Yeah.
Hands in their pocket. He said, there's only one position for you, scrum half. He said, you're a gymnast, you're an athlete, you're this, you're that, you're that, or that. But Bill Samuel was the sort of man you just looked at and believed everything you said. He was the most incredible man.
I wanted to ask you about his personality. So, what was he like in his sort of demeanor? Was he charismatic? Was he very commanding? Were people quite frightened of him? Or did he manage to put the encouragement into all of his students, regardless of their talent?
Correct. All those attributes. Yeah, you're right. No, he was he looked after everybody, not just people that he thought were going to be international players, those with great potential. No, he was a great teacher to everybody that was in the classroom. But he could sort of place certain individuals. I'm not just talking about my own position and rugby involvement. Because I remember him saying to me, "Oh, go on, you don't want to be a centre." He said a centre three-quarter. Anyway, he said, the Welsh under-15 centre at the moment is your very best pal from the village, from my village. He said, Darrell Cole. And he said, Darrell is twice your size, he said, and twice as strong and twice as big, He said, so you can forget about being a centre. I think because you're a good gymnast and the like, he said, I think your position would be scrum half. So he taught me the skills of that position for months on end, which indeed it was correct. So it wasn't that I had an ambition to be like all young people, the young boys. You dream of maybe representing your country, but it's so far away from you. You can't even touch it. You can't even believe that you'll ever foresee that moment. But Bill was a very, very demanding, a huge personality. Failure was not one of the words in his category. It was so he went around, but not just with me, with more or less the whole class, but more so with those people who showed that much more potential. So he could be an individual coach as much as a great teacher. So, but he was a hard taskmaster. He gave you a will to go on and to do this but he also had the capacity to sort of knock you down as well. Right, he said, you're not fast enough. Oh, right, you're not good enough in this. You're not good, and then he would tutor you to be better.
Did he get to see you at your heights? You know, you graduate from Millfield, and at 19 you put on a Welsh shirt. I mean, where was he? Was he in the stadium thinking, I spotted this boy? You know, I mean, did he get to see your glory days?
Well, dare I say it? Yes, he did.
Yeah.
But he hadn't changed his ways.
Oh, really?
No.
Brilliant.
Because he would go, you weren't all that good on Saturday. And some people are telling me that you're not fit enough. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do, he'd say, because I was earning a living. I'd been 3 years in Cardiff Training College. But I was now working in local industry. And so he knew that every day to go back to the village we lived in, I had to go past his house and past the school as well. So I remember him saying to me, I'll tell you what he says, I'll see you down at the school playing fields at 5 o'clock, he said, tomorrow. And I'll bring a couple of my first 15 boys with me to sort of be out at half beer. And he would then tutor me and teach me and cajole me for hours on end after school hours.
That's brilliant.
I can laugh, but I can laugh about it now.
Yeah.
So, some of those boys were Robert Jones, who became the British and Irish Lion not long after my career. But they were the young school team boys then. But Bill had them running all over the place to suit my needs at that time. So he right through my life, he was very influential. You're not fit enough. You're not good enough. You're not this. Something that would make you stand up and take note.
And work harder. Brilliant. Oh, I absolutely love that. I bet he was immensely proud of your 53 caps and 3 tours. How incredible. Perhaps I could segue on to the next question and ask you, Gareth, where is that special place for you? I've heard about the special person, but where in the world have you chosen as your special place?
Well, you'll be surprised because I've been with the family on several occasions around the world. Been very fortunate, been able to travel with the game, been able to travel with friends and really enjoyed myself. But this was a difficult one to sort of work out because I think we're greatly influenced by things we've done later on in life. But for me, the one place which stood out, and the more I thought about it, I thought, yes, is on the very top of the Black Mountains. Now, there's a Black Mountain range along South Wales, but these are the Black Mountains, which is above my village of Gwauncaegirwen and Bryn Aman, which we used to sort of ride on a bicycle, go for walks up to the mountain and over it. And then when we were able to and had bikes given to us, we would go for a cycle up to the very top of it. On the one side of the top of the mountain, you can almost see Swansea in the distance. Looking the other way, you can see up as far as mid Wales. I think it's the most fantastic place. And our parents used to take us there. My father would teach people to drive. As long as we were good little boys, we could sit in the back of the car. And we would stop at the very top. We would have a picnic. It's the most glorious place that I've never forgotten it. And there was a little brook there that I used to fish and possibly started to fish, which is one of the places that gave me the inkling and the desire to participate in fishing, which has been a great part of my life ever since. Even when I go over there now, which is infrequently, but still, even if I haven't been there for a year or two, there's something that just turns me on.
Yeah.
The views, for a start, all for nothing.
Yeah.
The memories.
Yeah, the memories.
Of having the memories of picnics there with my parents and my brothers and sisters. And my brother and sister, and dare I say, the first location that I went courting with Maureen and what
Was
have
that your
you.
first date
But
in the Black Mountains?
Well, probably not far away anyway. Yes, it was. Yes.
Lovely.
But it's such a glorious part of the world.
Yeah.
And even now, if I haven't been there for 2 or 3 years, I make a point of sort of just going over just to sort of remind myself of the beauty of it all. Even though we're fortunate to have gone to many fantastic areas around the world, with the rugby, with friends, and indeed with your family on many occasions. But that is, it was. I've never forgotten it. When you put this question down for me, I thought to myself, God, how am I going to choose from all the fortunate places I've been able to go throughout the world, and just imagine what it was like for me as a 19-year-old becoming a British and Irish Lion, going to South Africa for the first time, seeing all those beautiful, locations, those beautiful animal parks, and fantastic.
Yeah.
But when I saw that question, I thought, even now, my mind slips back. The memories I have of, sometimes it was bleak and what have you, but on the right day, it was the most fantastic vision, and is still today. And there's nothing I love better than to just even go for. I might not need to go just across the mountain, but I'll just make a detour just to sort of go across that mountain whenever I can.
The Black Mountains, beautiful. And that will take me nicely onto my third question for you, Gareth, which is, of your treasured possessions, which one have you chosen? Was this difficult?
Whoa, God alive, of course it is. I mean, there's so many things
Trophies.
that you treasure.
Yes.
So, well, yes, but they're materialistic. They're important. You may be looking back. But again, what they do is give you memories of and make you realize how fortunate you are. I should say that my most treasured possession is Maureen, my wife. But I'm sure she'd allow me to suggest that maybe my fishing rod.
Right. Okay.
And in actual fact, one of my treasured possessions, your father actually bought me a fishing rod.
Did he really?
Yes, he did. And I brought a couple of salmon back here to you, to the family, on a couple of occasions. But we shared such a lot of memories of playing at Cardiff, or playing for Cardiff, of our time at Cardiff as player, as directors and owners. Indeed, your father. And on this occasion, he says, "I want to buy you a fishing rod." He said, "So will you get the fishing rod for yourself?" I was gobsmacked, but anyway, I did get this most magnificent fishing rod. And so it also falls into place. Fishing has been one of my cherished sort of involvements with nature and what have you over the years. To be out in countries all over the world, fishing in South Africa, fishing in New Zealand in particular, Australia. Whenever I've been able to go to anywhere in the world, I've always tried to have a fishing rod.
Great.
Yeah.
I love it.
Fish. So really, I can't imagine me going anywhere or even though it's limited to three of the three questions. I thought I didn't have to think long and hard. It just came to me, and the more I thought about it, I could think of lots of things that I've cherished, or lots of things that I would love to have. But I can't imagine being anywhere without my fishing rod. So I would say that without question, because it's given me it's given me pleasure ever since I caught my first eel.
Right.
The stream, I wouldn't call it a river, but the stream that came through my village, remember it was a mining village, was full of coal dust. It was black, except in July and August when the miners had their holidays, and then it tended to clear up a little bit. Now, it was so polluted that only the eels could live in it, but you could catch eels, and then I would run with it home. I was so proud of this little eel, which was no more than. My mother asked me one day. She said, "What is that? Is that your father's? Is that your father's lace from his boots?" I said, "No, ma'am. This is an eel I've just caught, and I've got to skin it, and you've got to put it in the frying pan with some butter." Oh, I
Was
can
it
still
good?
taste it today.
Really?
Oh,
Delicious.
fantastic!
Really?
Fantastic!
Wow.
Yeah. So that would have been my first experience as a 5-6-year-old, maybe, catching fish in those polluted rivers, as I said at the time. But again, coming back to the mountain, then as I got older and I could cycle further and I would cycle up over the mountain to crystal clear streams, the other side of the mountain, which had these beautifully red, black, dotted trout, not much more than sort of 6, 7, 8 inches maybe. Catch 2 or 3 of those, and I'd be so proud taking them back to my mother. My mother would cook them, fry them in butter again. Oh,
delicious.
I can taste it now and I can see it. Yeah. So I've never forgotten that, and quite honestly, Debbie, fishing has played a huge part in my life. Fortunate, as I said, I'm already repeating myself, of maybe the opportunities I've had all around the world to actually take a rod with me and to be able to sort of put a fly or put a bait in front of so many different species of fish. And the people that I've met through fishing has given me a wonderful all-round experience of life in general.
Yes. Do you have any uncharted territory that you haven't yet been to that you'd love to do and tick off the bucket list to catch another salmon or another fish?
I had opportunities, but I never is out Argentina.
Oh, right.
Argentina have got some huge sea trout. Sea trout is also has been very prevalent in Wales for years and years and years. But unfortunately, I think like a lot of wildlife these days, they're under huge stress and strains. So they're not as prevalent as they once were. So maybe I'd have loved to have had the chance of casting a fly for one of these big sea trout, wild and free, that are in Argentina. I've had many opportunities from some of the players that I played against. Gareth, you must come out and fish for these, because they all know about my love of fishing. I've been able to do quite a lot where I've been playing rugby, New Zealand in particular, as I mentioned, South Africa, with the wildlife around you.
Oh, Gareth, this has been so special. Thank you. I mean, hearing about your mentor, the great man that was Bill Samuels, the Black Mountains, and your love for the homeland and your fishing rod. I hope you've enjoyed being a guest on these 3 things.
My pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us today for another episode of These 3 Things. If you have particularly enjoyed this conversation, please do share it with a friend. Press subscribe or follow on your preferred platform. And if you have an extra minute, a comment or review is greatly appreciated. We release episodes every fortnight. So until next time, thank you and take care.